Since Toycember is winding down with a few Transformers, I figure we'll keep it off topic for just at least one more random review, and since we've already looked at the gimmick lines for Gaim and Drive, I figure one more couldn't hurt, especially one that came in on Christmas morning. So, we're going to look at what was probably the most random thing I got under the tree this year, the OOO's combo change Sagohzo. Yep, this was the gimmick line for Kamen Rider O's, which I thought would be completely irrelevant to review now, but hey, they came out in more Asian countries. And I figure, well, as long as they're populating eBay again, might as well cover one. And hey, it's out and it's here, so we might as well do it. So yeah, just like most of the O's combo change, there are 3 pieces, head, chest, legs, and perfectly swappable, which we'll show off in a bit. But first, we do have to look at what you actually get out of this figure. For starters, there is the Sai part of this, being the helmet, done up in the Rhino motif and looking quite cool. I really, really like the design on Sagohzo. I like the tall horn and the sharp edges. I also like how all the mold lines flow up into the horn. Just kind of make that such a nice central point, which deservedly so. I mean, it is the Rhino horn. Though there are small details as well. You can notice the Rhino's eyes are actually included there above the actual eyes, as it were. Now, we are dealing with metallic red eyes here. None of the clear plastic effects that the later gimmick figures have had, so yeah, we haven't quite reached that level of detail yet on these, but still not too bad here. I'll give you a quick look on the back here just because they did paint up a little bit. Nothing exciting, but hey, it is there, so might as well point it out. Now we go down to the arms and we'll get to the gorilla portion. They went with kind of a hexagon pattern shape, so you can see all these triple layers of things and all vaguely hexagon shaped. It's kind of neat. And as the helmet is done up in white, you'll find the arms done up in silver, which goes all the way down to these big gorilla meat hooks he comes with. This is his signature design, of course, big punching gloves, and again with the hexagon pattern. I really like how that looks. It's a neat way of doing the groove lines here, and there's more detailing just beyond that. Little lines molded in here and there. Doesn't quite go all the way around. I had to double check on the show to see if that's accurate, but it does not look like it. Looks like they skipped just a little bit there. I do like how that there are some lines in the front to where it's actually indicating where the gorilla's big fingers are actually going to be. No thumb, but hey, I guess that's what your actual hand is for, which is completely hidden here. We'll go into the legs, and we'll save the torso for last, where it all comes together. This is the Zo, the elephant portion. And you can see it's kind of represented. It has the same hexagon pattern, but more to the point, it has a lot more of these individual layers. It almost looks like layered armor, and it's trying to replicate the wrinkled look of an elephant's skin. It does that quite well. If you look at the kneecap, you can actually make out the shape of the elephant's head. If you imagine that to be, well, that's actually very handy. Thank you, loose knee joint. If you actually imagine that to be the actual snout of the elephant, come up to here, there's the tusk, there is the ear, and there are the eyes. So that's kind of a clever little design element. It's subtle. You have to actually look for it. Otherwise, it just looks like a big, heavy gunmetal gray boot. So I do like the attention to detail there. They do work things in quite cleverly. Now that I think of it, can we actually make out a gorilla face on this? Not quite. There's nothing for actual distinct eyes or nose or anything. So, we'll stick to what we got. It's still pretty good. In the midsection, that's where all the details kind of come together. You see the white, the silver, and the gunmetal. All the different shades of gray that is Sagohzo. The belt, yeah, they skimped on the belt. Yeah, that's pretty typical of the gimmick figures, as we've figured out. One single solid piece, and they've chosen black here, which kind of muddles some of the details. The scanner is permanently molded to the side. It's done up in black as well, which I guess is appropriate. Belt's painted all the way around, at least, as well as the coin holder. So at least they got all the details around the strap painted up correctly, but the actual main feature, But that's something you come to expect on these things. So beyond that, we'll go, what's next here? I guess Articulation would be the next logical place to go. Because one of the big things is, with this separation gimmick, which I still haven't shown off yet, don't worry, we'll get there. what can actually move on him? Well, head is completely ball jointed, so it works all the way around. A little bit of tilt, a little bit of angle, whatever you need. Shoulders are universal, good range of motion. They're nice and sturdy. There's a bicep rotation, as well as a 90-degree elbow. We'll tell you there is a wrist, as well as the typical gimmick lines two-fingered hand hinge thing for gripping. Though with these big things attached, you're hardly going to need them at any point. It's not like you can hold on. It's not your time yet. I'm doing this in order. I'm saving gimmicks for last. Hang. Okay, talk about a trigger finger, but I'm ching. Yeah, we'll get to that here in a minute. Okay, so where this does kind of fall apart is there's no waist articulation on this guy, which seems kind of weird because there actually aren't any parts separating this out. It's not really, doesn't really contain anything for the gimmick, so I'm not sure why that piece doesn't have any kind of waist joint, so that seems like a missed opportunity. Ball jointed hips, good range of motion all the way around on those. There is a thigh swivel, as well as a good knee bend beyond the 90-degree. And rocking ankles thanks to a ball joint. So you get a whole lot of motion out of these, and that's always a good thing for a Kamen Rider figure. And now, yes, there are several gimmicks to these. The whole point of the combo change figures is not only do you have the primary gimmick, which I'm saving for last if you haven't figured out, though I'm going to keep telling you about it. The torso and the legs on all of these had minor gimmicks, just little tricks that they could do. For instance, on the Zo part, the attack from the show can be replicated by twisting the legs around and pegging everything together at the shins and the ankles, which gives you this one big unileg thing. No, he's not a mermaid. It's supposed to be one giant elephant leg for stomping and earthquaking. He's that right hand, man. He does not want to wait his turn at all. Alright, so you have that. It's a goofy little thing. It's a minor thing, but hey, it's something you could do on the show. And then, yes, if you haven't figured out by now, the big gorilla fists actually do fire off of the arms. The one on the right on mine has a bit of a hair trigger, and it does like to fire off at the slightest provocation. Now, these I will actually demonstrate on camera because, in spite of their design, they ain't terribly impressive. They don't go very far, which is kind of strange because it's an interesting little missile firing design. If you look, you can see the shape that would be for your pressure launching missiles, that little hook that fires off like a ball joint. But inside, you'd also find a spring for a normal spring-loaded launcher. So it's kind of both worlds. It uses that clip to hang on to the actual gauntlet, and then you push it forward like a pressure launch missile. But you also get a spring firing mechanic, which should add some extra power to it. It does make it very easy to fire off. That's good for this smaller size. However, as you can see, yeah, it's not the most perfect of engineering. It doesn't quite, this clip right here does not hold on very well, and it fires off very easily. And as you can see, they don't fire off too far, which is kind of unfortunate, because that is like his main attack. So, oh well, it might just be mine. Like I don't have enough like first-hand account to actually say whether or not that was a running problem on the figure. The main draw, of course, it's the OOO's Combo Change series, so the best part is this button on the back. Pressing that does allow everything to split into its individual components, which was always a neat little trick. I always liked how it could do this. They were proud of it, too. I mean, that's how they packed them. And of course, that means pretty much any other OOO's Combo Change figure we have can all combine together in order to create whatever weird combination you have. Do you want a flying elephant leg with beetle horns? Yeah, sure you do. Why wouldn't you? So we have, let's do gorilla and octopus. Gorilla, octopus, and hawk head. Why not? Because that makes sense. I'm sure that would come in handy in some battle. Octopus legs and gorilla arms. And, oh. I wanted to come up with some like weird mix-up on all three of them, but I kind of just ended up with the Tatoba with the Sai head on it. But hey, again, this is just what you can do. Like, I don't have all the figures, or I'd have a better little mix-up here. But hey, that's kind of how the line works, and that was the fun of the line. See, this is where it kind of stood out for me, aside from figure arts. Like, when you talk like figure arts for Forza and Drive, you can pretty much get the same gimmicks. In fact, you can. You can get the same gimmicks that these gimmick line figures had in figure art size. It's not all that special. But something like this, a figure art just isn't capable of doing, not without sacrificing a lot of the engineering that makes a figure art a figure art. So this is where I really dig these gimmick line figures. They have a lot going for them when it's the right series, and O's was definitely the right series to really show off what they could get away with. And this was a really cool way of getting whatever combination you wanted, whether it was in the show or not. So I still do have a lot of fun with these figures, and I still have to track down the ones I am missing. I still need a couple of them. But yeah, that is Sagohzo in a multicolored nutshell. I do, well, of course, one more time. No, I really like the Sagohzo design. Since Tora's torso goes flying. I really do like this design. I really think it's a really solid Kamen Rider design. One of O's better forms. And yeah, I'm perfectly happy with it, other than the fact that his missiles are a little bit weak, and one of them really likes to fire off whenever it jolly well pleases. So, beyond that, I think he's a perfectly fine figure, and I've yet to be disappointed with anything in the O's combo change line. So, I don't know, maybe if I get one of the bigger ones like Puto Tira down the line, we might revisit these, but they all do end up kind of the same, so it might be the only one for a while. We'll see.